It's more important now than ever for us to band together, to put our arms around one another, to find someone in your extended family or friend group that needs the help, that needs the support, that needs the hug. We got to be there for one another. We've got a real problem in America with corporate America, with business leaders. In this case, Apple TV Plus, I think is what they call it. It's not Apple TV, right? There's a plus in there. They all have a plus. They are pulling a television show that they've produced, they approved, they poured millions and millions and millions of dollars hiring writers and producers and cast and crew to produce this program. And now that fascism has landed on the shores of America with Donald Trump, with the USS bloated Donald Trump, they're pulling the show before it even airs. They're postponing the release of a show. Why, you would ask? Why? What would be the contents of this program? This based on a true story, but a fictional account of it. Why would they pull that? What's the show about? It's about hunting white supremacists. It's about an organized effort to infiltrate and take down a network of neo-Nazis. And that apparently is too hot for Apple TV, too close to reality. So they want to send the message that it's too controversial to hunt Nazis. It's too controversial to air that white supremacy is a bad thing that needs to be rooted out. Apple TV, who relies upon democracy to do what they do, who has been afforded through the freedoms provided by the United States, their ability to make billions and billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars with a valuation of well in advance of $1 trillion the company is worth. And they're going to acquiesce to Donald Trump and the racists in the Republican Party and the morons, the fascists who wrote Project 2025 at the Heritage Foundation. Get a load of this headline from Vulture. Apple pulls the Savant from its release schedule. The latest series debut from Apple TV Plus, there it is, Apple TV Plus, has been put on ice. The Savant, a buzzy new Jessica Chastain-led thriller which features themes and storylines that echo recent politically sensitive real-life events, was originally set to premiere this Friday, September 26th, but has been delayed by the streaming service, Apple confirmed on Tuesday. After careful consideration, we have made the decision to postpone the Savant, the streamer said in its statement, which Deadline first reported. We appreciate your understanding and look forward to releasing the series at a future date. That's it? Again, this is what the show contains. While Apple declined to comment on the reasons why, the political violence in the show is thought to be responsible. The show's trailer, which, as of this writing, is still live on YouTube, teases the series' premise. A mother, played by Chastain, works for an anti-hate group and poses as a white supremacist online, acting as a sort of counterinsurgent. She infiltrates extremist forums and works to stop violent threats before they happen. What a dangerous show. Someone trying to stop the dangers of political violence, of white supremacist hate. Oh, we can't have that. White supremacy needs to flourish, says Tim Apple over at Apple TV Plus. As Chastain's character warns in the trailer, which depicts scenes of car bombings, sniper attacks, and arson, we're on the verge of serious violence. That subject matter, which is inspired by a true story from a Cosmopolitan magazine feature, may be a bit too hot for Apple TV Plus following the assassination of Charlie Kirk and other recent examples of political violence in the United States. The blog 9to5Mac was first to report on the show's delay, while its premiere date on Apple's TV portal has changed to coming at a later date. The postponement comes in the immediate wake of the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel last week. He'll be back on the air tonight. This was written yesterday. But about 25% of U.S. markets, those controlled by Sinclair and Nexstar, won't show the broadcast. While it's unclear what in the Savant read as objectionable to Apple TV's decision makers, Its delay is emblematic of the heightened caution and scrutiny Hollywood feels as it navigates the Trump administration's media ecosystem. That last sentence is a hell of a way to call people cowards. It's a hell of a milquetoast manner with which to call these people cowards who are not meeting the moment. White supremacy is a scourge on the body politic of the United States. The Republican Party is the largest, most effective, dangerous white supremacy organization on planet Earth. And to call it otherwise is not doing your duty, not living up to the protections of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and your free speech rights. Apple TV. I'm sure the producers are beside themselves with irritation over this because it's an unintended consequence of the government's crackdown on speech that they're doing this. They don't want Donald Trump to come after iPhone production or whatever other tariff nonsense he could create. There are other mechanisms other than the blunt force of just canceling shows through the government. There are other mechanisms by which they can squelch and diminish free speech in this country, and they're using those levers of power. I would love to know what you think about this. Subscribe to this channel. We're trying to get to 1.5 million before, the end of the year. That would be great. You can take part in that. You can also follow the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily, obviously on Facebook. I keep saying it, and every time I do it, I feel like a dumbass. I guess because I am. Anyway, if you want to talk about this story in the comments, I would love to have a conversation there. We can also have you call the voicemail line, leave me a brief voicemail at 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Look, we are in the most precarious place in the history of this nation, certainly since the Civil War. What's taking place right now with the fascism and the authoritarianism and the compulsion of Donald Trump to be a dictator type makes the 70s and the late 60s pale in comparison, in my view. They are really, the next tranche of attacks on free speech will come for independent creators. They're not going to just stop with Jimmy Kimmel. It's not even, the harassment of Jimmy Kimmel isn't even over. But let me tell you, when these networks and these streaming services that pay millions, if not tens of millions of dollars to create shows, when they're providing anticipatory obedience, there's not a lot of hope for the rest of us out of power. With the tiny sliver of power that I have with this platform, I cannot imagine, as powerless as I feel, how people with no microphone, with no camera, with no social media following at all, it's got to be disheartening. And that is why, should have started with this, it's more important now than ever for us to band together, to put our arms around one another, to find someone in your extended family or friend group that needs the help, that needs the support, that needs the hug. We got to be there for one another if we're going to get through this. Anyway, I love and appreciate you on that note, and I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.